Welcome to Gloria's Gab Live. Today I have with me Michelle Villalobos, who is an author, an international speaker, an entrepreneur, a woman for all seasons for sure. Thank you so much for joining me today, Michelle.
Thank you for having me.
Yeah, well, we've got a lot to talk about. You've got a business, but you just come out with a new book. Before we start, though, I have to thank our sponsor, South Florida PBS. If you're not a member, you should be. And if you are, you get one of these once a month, and it tells you everything that's going on WXCL, WPBS, and then allhealthtv.com has some great programs that give you a lot of health information for free. So thank you again, South Florida PBS. So let's talk about, we got so much going on. You have an event coming up in 2 days at Books and Books.
I do, yeah, the book launch.
Okay, yeah. So tell me about the time and all that.
Okay.
Get that out of the way so everybody puts it on their calendar.
Sounds good. It's this Thursday, May 18th at 6:30 p.m. I'll be doing a live reading from the book. I'll be doing Q&A, talking about it a little bit. We have light bites, appetizers, free drinks, and I'll be displaying some of the original artwork from the book as well.
Which is amazing. And we were talking, Christy Eggers?
Her name is Kiki Kalahari is what she goes by. Her real name is Kirsten Eggers, and she lives in Germany.
Right. And how you told me you found her online, but
I did.
It's pretty amazing. When you see this artwork, guys, you're not going to believe how beautiful.
Thank you.
And look at the book.
Okay.
Show us the book.
So this is the cover. It comes in a case.
Comes in a case.
And then you slip it out like this. And let's see here. Wow, there we go.
Yeah, right. Yeah.
And you can see I went all out with this production. I fell in love with this idea, this vision, this book, this possibility. So it's got the gold foil on the cover. I wanted it to be a work of art.
It is a work of art. Yeah. So not only it's got dreamer content, really, but it is a book that's for the mature adolescent or an adult.
It's really,
even though it looks like a children's book.
Indeed, you got it. So can I tell you a little bit about how it came to be?
Absolutely. I was going to ask you that.
Yeah. So I've had, an interesting, we were talking about my old life. It feels like there was a before and an after. I had this big experience in 2014 that some would call a breakdown, which ultimately became a breakthrough. Right. And that's kind of the message of the book, breakdown to breakthrough, that the breakdown precedes the breakthrough and is an opportunity for a breakthrough. I didn't know it at the time, and then about 2 years ago, many years later, so this happened in 2014, I reinvented myself, my business, my life. I started to take care of myself in new ways, had some mental health things that I addressed. And 2 years ago, I was asleep, sound asleep in the middle of the night, and this dream, like a line from a song, kept running through my head, and I tried to go back to sleep, and I couldn't. So I got up and just wrote it down, thinking, I'll get it out of my head so I can go back to sleep. And I kept writing, and I wrote the whole poem in 2 hours.
Get out of here!
Book.
Oh my goodness!
The whole thing, it just poured out of me.
Talk about inspired.
It was, and I've never. Well, I joke that the last time I wrote a poem was probably roses are red, violets are blue, and it was in crayon. I'm not a poet. It's not a thing. But this came out of me, and I shared it with a few people, and people cried when I read it. And I definitely could tell on my own that it was something. And then people's reaction to it made me certain that it was something.
Well, and especially people who have experienced that.
Yeah.
They get it. We have a mutual friend that said she cried. Yeah. So, I get that. But how you have to make yourself vulnerable to do something like that. And then when you talk about it, you're a brave person.
Thank you. Well, that's the message
that
of the book.
That is the book.
Right?
Exactly. So we talked about this before. Your life before you reinvented yourself. Was in publications.
Yeah,
I was Ocean Drive. And I was saying that I'd seen your name before, but I couldn't figure out where it was, and that was it.
Yeah, we're in the same industry, and that's part of what kind of led to the breakdown. Honestly, is that I had spent, much like the character in the book. It starts off in the book. It says, "Waking up again on the hamster wheel of life. V was safe, secure, and warm, but dying inside."
Yeah.
And that was my story. I was the associate publisher, executive publisher of this fancy magazine on
Yeah.
South Beach. I could get into any party. I mean, I used to get invited to parties. I got flown in on a helicopter once. I mean, my life from the outside looking in,
Looked great.
it did. And
Yeah.
I was dying inside.
Yeah. But after a while, all those parties and everything, it was like,
Yeah.
this is work.
Yeah. And it wasn't what I was here to do. It's not, wasn't aligned with my true heart and passion and soul. It was what I did to get achievement, to make money, to be significant in the world. And those were the things that I thought I needed to do to be happy. And I didn't know any better back then. I didn't know that there was more, there was another way to live.
So now you share that, and you founded, what's it called?
Superstar Activator.
Activator. Yeah. And tell us a little bit about that's an interesting, is that what you do when you do your motivational talks?
Yeah.
Or you? Oh, okay. So tell us how that came about.
Yeah. So in 2007, I was driving to work, Ocean Drive. Sorry, Ocean Drive. I love you. And I was driving to work every day in tears. I was just miserable. I wasn't, I was drinking a lot. I was partying a lot. I was living the lifestyle. Eventually, I quit thinking, okay, it's the job that's the problem, not me, right?
Right.
So I quit the job and then still had all the same problems.
You were still there?
I was still there. Wherever you go, there you are, right? So I started to, the long story very short is 7 years of trying to make the job and the business that I had change so that I could feel better. And then I had the breakdown, and I met a mentor who basically showed me, oh, no. It goes the other way. You do the work on the inside, and then the life transforms around you. And so that's really where Superstar Activator, the brand was born before like the true me embodying the brand. It's kind of like that dropped in first, just like this book dropped in before this version, right?
Right, yeah.
So the brand dropped in like 2013, but 2014 I started to do the inner work. And the work of Superstar Activators for people to activate their awakening from the inside out. And it's really about not just having the awakening of, hey, it's an inside job. You got to do the work on the inside and then your life will transform. It's also about superstar, someone who pays that message forward and shares what they've learned on their journey with others.
And that's what you're doing.
That's what I do. So I help activate people to wake up their inner superstar, to transform their lives, and then to share that transformation with others in the form of mentorship, events, leadership in the community, different ways that people activate their superstar.
So when you do these motivational talks and whatever you do to go to corporations,
I do.
And it ties in, I guess, to team building and to being better at your job and enjoying it.
Yeah, I mean, it's really, so there's a few different messages. I mostly speak to communities of entrepreneurs because that's where my heart is.
Yeah,
I've been
exactly.
an entrepreneur 15 years this year.
Yeah.
So, and when I do a corporate thing, it's usually now lately I've been getting this. I have a But I Want to Fly keynote that I do that's about.
Really? Oh, so that works.
Exactly. And I'm about to start doing an Awaken Your Inner Superstar journey. And my first one will be July 2nd. I'll invite you to that if you want to come. Yeah. So I'm going to start. Have you heard of breath work?
No.
Okay. So have you heard of psychedelics? It's about,
Apparently not.
It's like having a psychedelic trip without any drugs. There's a way to activate.
I was a boring child.
So was I.
I never tried anything.
No, exactly. And you don't have to. You can have that experience of that you hear about, that oneness experience, that feeling of connection to that which lies beyond whatever that is in your worldview. You can have that through a certain type of breathing pattern. You can activate that through breath.
Oh, okay.
And so I'm learning how to do that, and I'm going to co-facilitate that with another breathwork practitioner to help people awaken.
Okay, so is it like breathing like you do for, when you're having childbirth?
Kind of.
Or is it some deep breathing?
It's deep. It's deep breathing. It's sustained. There are different models of breath work, but the one that I'm talking about, people sometimes call it holotropic breath work. It's like a healing modality. It's a little bit in the woo-woo space.
I was exposed to, I think I was exposed to that at one point.
Yeah.
I don't remember where it was. I think it was
Okay.
somebody using crystals and.
Probably. Very likely. Crystals can be involved. And I'm using it, I'd like to use it, my plan is and what I'm working on and developing is using it to take people on this journey, like a But I Want to Fly journey, an awakened journey where they can face the things that have them feel like they're not fully living their life, their fullest expression, face them, process them in one, 3-hour session, and then release it and step into what's the new thing? What is it that I'm claiming? What is it that I want to live now?
Yeah. Yeah. So we have a video. Do
Yes.
you want to see the video now?
Yeah, that's a great call.
Okay,
Yes.
I think that'd be great. Hey, we've got a wonderful producer, Alex. Could you possibly start the video that you produced? Oh, so that was fun.
Thank you.
I'm sure everybody is going to be so enamored with you once they see you in person. I had no idea because we had never met before.
That's right.
But you're a delight, and I'm looking forward to seeing what the future holds for you.
Me too.
You have such a sparkling personality, and really brave.
Thank you.
To take this on. We were talking about that. We have sales meetings. We talk about different things as corporate people do.
That's right.
And we talk about the fear of success. And that's another thing I'm sure you address.
Oh yeah.
People get into, like you said, they're on a treadmill. They're in a rut.
Yeah.
Safe. And they've got their safe place to be. And even if they're not super happy with it, it's their safe place. Or maybe they like their place, but they're afraid to.
I did an exercise last year with my clients. It came from a book. I forget the name of the author, but the book is called Existential Kink. And it's a book basically about, it's full of exercises to kind of push you out of your comfort zone.
Right.
And one of the exercises, we all did it together. I did it with all my clients. We paired up. And it was essentially to write down the biggest dream, the biggest vision that you can think of. And to really like map it out, like this is what it would look like. So for example, I could say, the vision, something along the lines of my book is in, 1 million people buy my book and it's in all these hands and I'm in these big stages in front of thousands of people doing my performances and yada yada. And then it said now you list all the things about that scare you.
Okay.
And I realized that I had all this fear around people judging me, ridiculing me, rejecting me, making fun of my book, or, like, who does she think she is? And I had fear that I would
Wow.
mismanage my money and that, like, you had to list 20
Oh my goodness.
every day for 11 days, 20 new ones. So you take the thing and you write it out. And I was like, oh my God, I'm afraid of so many things
You never had any idea
associated with
you
the
were.
success.
Yeah.
Like, so of course, subconsciously, wouldn't my like survival brain want to kind of, oh gosh, I don't want her to get made fun of. I don't want her to get beat up or attacked or, ridiculed or rejected.
So your inner
or,
self is telling you,
yeah,
stay the way you are.
small.
Yeah, think
So
small.
we did that every day, and every day at the end of the day, we would break it up or burn it or whatever, and the next day write it all over again. Until by the end, you look at this thing, you're like, I'm really not scared of these things anymore. Like I've played it out through my head. I'm like, this is kind of ridiculous.
Yeah.
Who cares if a few people don't like my book, whatever. So you're right. We have a fear of success because there's a part of us that feels maybe vulnerable or too exposed or any number of things.
Yeah. So you address that when you have your workshops all the time, and which is it's a real thing though.
It's a very real thing.
Yeah, but we were talking about it, and sometimes Michael at a meeting, you don't mind me talking about you, Michael, was saying, hey, if I do this, I'm going to be so busy, I'm not going to be able to go see my friends, and I'm not going to have as much time to play.
Right.
And so that's a fear that you're going to
Exactly.
lose contact with people because you're dealing with another group of people, maybe.
Yeah. I use this analogy. I do this with my clients. Like, they want the business. They're like, oh yeah, I want to grow my business. And then they've got the brakes on is they're like, wait, I don't want to spend more time at work. I don't want to not have time with my family. So we're often like sending these mixed messages to the universe. And that's, that's something in my workshops. I just did one this weekend. I had a 3-day with clients. And one of the biggest ways to look at that and see that is to listen to language. So for example, this weekend, somebody said something along the lines of, I want to make a lot of money, but I also want to spend time with my family. And just by using the word but, you can see that there's a subconscious program that you can't have both of those simultaneously.
But you should be able to.
Yeah, so we just changed the word but for and all of a sudden, and just after one 3-day event, a lot of people are catching themselves saying, but, oh, wait, new program, yeah, and I want to have a lot of money, I want to make a lot of money in my business, and I want to have a family life, that's fulfilling and beautiful.
Right. So you can have it all.
Oh, absolutely. Well, I like to say you can have everything that your heart truly deeply desires. Right. I don't believe personally, this is my personal worldview. I don't believe that you can have a deep, deep desire in your heart truly that you can't have. I mean, it's one thing to be like, oh, I'd love to fly, or I'd love to, time travel, or I'd love, but when you have a deep, deep burning desire for something, I think that there's something there. I say desire is the calling card of destiny. It's destiny pulling you forward towards something.
Right. Yeah. Mm-hmm. So I feel passionate about what I do. And
I can tell.
And I feel very, excuse me, the allergies are getting to me.
Yes.
I don't know if you're having trouble.
I do, yes.
Yeah. Oh my gosh. Mm-hmm. But all of a sudden I've got a cough this morning. So I apologize. Yeah, but I'm very, I feel like so blessed to have found, after all these years and doing different jobs, because I'm an entrepreneur. I had my own business, a cruise-only travel agency, and I did reciprocal trade and barter. From my dad, I learned it. Excuse me, I'm sorry.
No worries.
But it's funny how and then finally I end up here, and I'm going, well, this is where I should have been all along,
Well, and that word should right there implies there's something wrong with how it all went. And I invite
But
you
I
to-
learned from everything. I never
Exactly.
had a job I didn't like.
There you go.
Never
Everything
had a
led you
job.
here. It's
Yeah.
like the dots connecting.
Yeah, exactly.
Mhm.
So, but every job you do, I mean, look at all the things you did and the people you met.
Yeah.
They all played into
Oh, totally.
your being who you are now.
Yeah.
You know,
There's
so-
absolutely, that's one of the messages of the book. There's a moment in the video, you can see a little bit of it. There's a moment where she's confronting the truth and the reality. It says, what if this is it? What if this is it and I never have the chance to live the life that's calling me and in the mystery dance? And then it says, she wept and mourned the cost of the choices she had made. But the painful truth was clear as day, no one but she to blame. And so that's a part of the story where she,
I'm so sorry.
no worries, do you want some water? Okay. It's a part where she takes responsibility. Now, first it's self-blame, which is a step. And then eventually the next set of pages, she just releases all of it. She just lets it go and lets it be. And on the other side of that is the dream, is this awakening where she's like, wait,
Yeah.
oh, wait, I want to fly.
Yeah.
But she had to face that regret, that shame, that guilt, that feeling of having done it wrong first. She has
Yeah.
to come to face with that. She has to confront it. She can't bypass it or skip over it. It's part of the process to feel that pain because it gives fuel for the dream.
The dream.
Mhm.
Exactly. Yeah. So, this.
Ah!
So tell me, what was your background? Where did you were raised? Give me a little bit about your
Okay.
early life.
All right. Sweet. Like many Miami people, my family's Cuban.
Oh,
My parents are Cuban. I was born, they met here. Then they moved to Colombia. I was born in Colombia, Medellin.
Oh, really?
And then we went from Medellin back to the States, or Bogota, then to the States. And I lived in the United States from 3 years old, maybe till about 11 years old. And we lived in Colorado, and then we lived in Miami. I went to St. Pat's on the beach for a
Oh, you
couple of
did?
years.
Oh, my gosh. That's a beautiful
It was.
school.
It
Yeah.
is. And so then we moved.
Wait, do you
Yeah.
know Aurelie Ruiz?
I'm not sure.
No, because I think her kid went there.
Huh.
She,
I was there in 85, 86.
yeah, I met you through her
Mm,
a long time ago.
maybe. So 85, 86, then we moved to the Dominican Republic.
Right.
So that's where I went to junior high and high school, and then got into college in the States,
Yeah.
went to New Hampshire, Dominican
Oh, my
Republic
goodness.
to New
Yeah,
Hampshire.
what a culture
And
shock.
went to an Ivy League school, so it was very competitive and achievement oriented. And then from there, it was like 20 years of 20 years of doing the prescribed path. Get a good job, work your way up the job, get a better job. Claw your way up the corporate ladder, and that's how I ended up Ocean Drive and did all
Yeah,
that. And that takes us all the way to 2007, which is where I said, take this job and shove it, and I quit. And I and it's not it was a great job. Like I said, it was me. And then I started my business in 2007.
Yeah. So, so what was the hardest thing about starting your job? I mean, you had the background, you had an MBA,
Yeah.
you had all the, you had the tools to do it.
Yeah.
But the impetus was just an epiphany.
I would like to say it was an epiphany, but I really started the business from the energy of,
Discovering yourself.
yeah, and just like, honestly, I really just thought there was something wrong with the jobs, and that if I could just be my own boss and everything would be great. I really.
I'm sure a lot of people think that.
Was
They
it-
go, wait a minute. Now I got to do the books.
Yeah, there was no vision. I mean, I like to say, not like to say, but I honestly say that I started the business too from the energy of scarcity, because I was making great money at Ocean Drive. I had worked my way up and I was doing very well. So when I left and I started my own business, I didn't leave with like a vision of here's what I'm going to do and this is who I'm going to be. It was like, I need to replace my income. How do I do that?
Oh my God, yeah.
So it was all like from the energy of, and my mentor, one of my mentors, Nani Leah Diamond, she says, the energy from which you create determines the energy of what you create.
Oh, interesting. That's a good one.
Makes sense, right?
Yeah.
So here I am creating the business from the energy of, I got to make my income back. I got to show people I can do it. I got to prove myself. I got to show my parents. I got to show my old employee, my old boss. And, that was the energy. I was like trying to prove myself
Right.
to myself and to the world.
Yeah.
And so from that energy, what did I do? I was a workaholic. I stopped taking vacations. I was working nights and weekends. I was so stressed that I was blowing off steam through drinking and shopping and eating and all sorts of,
Things that were
numbing,
bad. Yeah.
numbing behaviors
Yeah.
to sort of push down the pain of not doing what I'm really here to do,
Yeah.
which is this, some version of this, activating others, helping,
Well,
supporting.
anytime you can help other people, it's the best.
Say that.
Yeah.
Yes, indeed. Yeah.
So that's kind of what I like to do.
That's what I love to do.
I think we're
Yeah, we're simpatico.
yeah, we're simpatico.
Exactly.
So tell us anything else you want to tell us about. I'm so sorry.
Oh, I'm sorry. I want to get you some water. If I
Believe it or not, we're almost done.
No way.
Yeah.
Oh my
I tell you,
goodness.
everybody thinks that,
It
oh,
goes so fast.
I know it goes fast, doesn't it? I know. So what is the most fun thing that you've done since you published the book?
I've been performing it. So
That's the most fun?
It is.
I bet.
Yeah, I love being on a stage. I love being in front of people. This is sort of my dream, right? To have something artistic, because I've been on stage talking
Well, you were
about
obviously
business.
a natural.
Thank you. Thank you. Well, that's funny because it's funny you say that, and maybe this is a good thing to end on. That was, as a little girl, that's what I loved. I loved performing. I loved dancing and singing and roller skating around the basement. I used to put on a talent show, and I'd force my parents and my cousins' parents to sit there and watch us as we performed.
So, and then they pushed you into this other path.
They pushed me. I pushed myself. Who knows, right? The story that I made up as a child, which I believed, was that in order to achieve love, in order to gain love and acceptance, I had to be, an
perfect
achiever,
child.
perfect child, straight A
Yeah, right.
student, business. And in my family, that's the truth. It wasn't encouraged. It was encouraged as a side thing. Go do your dance, go do your performing, but that's not a real thing.
That's not a
you're not
real
going to make
job.
money doing that. Okay.
And
So
you showed them.
well, and that's kind of the thing. That's I put aside my dreams and my desires, just like the character in the book did. And it wasn't until I brought them back forward that I'm really living a life of happiness and purpose. And
Yeah.
guess what? I am making money.
Yeah.
It does.
You can
do it. You can
do it.
absolutely do it.
Yeah.
And what you had asked earlier,
Well,
you can do it all. Well, you can do everything that your heart truly desires.
I was just
you
saying,
know?
yeah, you can do everything you want to do. Yes,
Really
you have to
want
want to
to.
do it.
It's how
So-
committed are you?
Yeah,
To it. And that's part of the message of the book too, is devotion, commitment. She does the work.
I am so glad you came today.
Thank you.
And Pat San Pedro, if you're watching, thank you for introducing us via email or whatever. But I'm going to try to come on Thursday.
I hope you do. I hope you do. There's
I
going
have-
to be some really interesting people there.
I bet. I
Some
bet.
cool, interesting local people
Yeah.
will be there, and I'd love to introduce you to some of
Okay.
them.
Yeah, absolutely. Okay. So again, I want to thank South Florida PBS. I don't know. Pick up the latest copy of Inspire Health. This is our Inspire Health magazine, 4-color magazine that we do. And Dr. Leah has a show on South Florida PBS, Sex Talk. The best
Sounds
show
interesting.
it is super interesting. Yeah, and so don't miss that. But please support South Florida PBS. Thank you so much for sponsoring our show. And Michelle, thank you so much for coming today. And I look forward to seeing you and following your career.
Thank you.
You know?
Thank you
Okay.
for having me. Appreciate it.
So until next week, be safe, do something nice for someone else, and have a great week.